Good morning, friends. Today we're talking about sin. And we're thinking about dislocation. When are things not the way they're supposed to be? If you dislocate an ankle, it's not going to work the way it's supposed to. If you dislocate a wrist or a bone, and it needs to be repaired, it needs to be reset, it needs to be tended to. Well, that's what happens in Genesis 3 in the Garden of Eden. The serpent comes and the serpent sows the seeds of mistrust, and then Adam and Eve, they water them. And they begin to wonder, does God have my best intentions at heart? And soon they put God to the test. They eat from the fruit, and they introduce spiritual and mental and physical and social brokenness into their lives, and we see the effects on them, and we see those same effects in ourselves today, where we mistrust, does God really supply my every need? And so we start to reach for short-term things that act as substitutes for spiritual and mental and physical and social health and acceptance. So we accept these substitutes because we mistrust God. And that's the reality of sin. And we're going to focus more fully next week on redemption. But Psalm 13 is so key because in Psalm 13, the author asks, God, have you forgotten me? But the author ends in this place of rejoicing, in a place of singing. And what that shows us is the psalmist teaches us how to trust God even from a place of despair. And we who know more than the psalmist, because we know the promises of God to which the psalmist is pointing and anticipating, and that Jesus Christ comes and accepts that punishment and goes through death to show us God's ability and desire to overcome the implications and ramifications of sin and brokenness. And so we know that. So we can ask the big questions when we experience loss and we grieve because things are not the way they should be. But we can do so from a place of trust because God shows us that God is willing and able to restore the breach and point ahead to a place, to an eternity where things are the way they're supposed to be. And we wait for that. Thanks be to God.